had a number of us from Australia and someone from Thailand that always comes to these team recaps anyway. Chris Cook, who's currently located in Thailand. So we had Carolyn and Chris, Kit and myself, and also, as I said, Chris Cook. So don't get confused about the Chrissy and Chris. I think, Chris, you prefer to go by Cookie anyway, don't you? In any case, what we wanted to do was go through some of the announcements, but perhaps even talk about the general, why did you like, or what I'd like to do first off is just go, what did people like about Team 25? I know Kit and Chrissy, you guys had an Accenture stand and had various different things you had to present to. How did that go? Was it worthwhile going?
My enduring lesson was that if you take a large foam gravestone, it leads to more photos and chats than any amount of planned strategic marketing. So we'll be bringing foam props to all future events is my kind of takeaway around things there.
Have you got a picture of that, Kit? The foam prop that you took there? It was very popular, wasn't it?
I think we got over 2,500 profile pictures, it felt like, with things, which is good. But I think generally really positive. Like it was a bit more chill compared to Anaheim, which was nice. Like it felt very like you had meaningful discussions without being as rushed around things. So yeah, it was positive. And I guess we're going to go through all the feature announcements later, but a lot of sort of coming of age kind of feelings around Rovo and AI and service collection things, which is nice.
What about yourself, Chrissy? Anything?
Sadly, I didn't make it there. I have to live vicariously through Kit.
Oh, I thought you made it there. Yeah. So, what about you, Kaz?
Well, for me, I always love Teams for the connections, so getting together in person with all the partners and, not so many customers over there in Europe for us, but it was nice to connect with the Australian customers that were there, and obviously the partners that came along, the Atlassians that came along, and lots of events and things were going on, which was really fun. So that's always a highlight for me. I think in terms of the announcements, there was some cool announcements around Rovo and AI and that sort of, it is that maturity of things now going on, and it is kind of the hub of everything. And obviously the collections. So the service collection was of great interest. I hadn't seen that before, so it was good to see that. A few little key takeaways. You good to start. The deck's nice and light in terms of the overview, but I enjoyed some of the customer sessions as well, where customers were talking about how they're using it, why they're using it, and some of the benefits they're getting from it. So I always like those sessions too.
Yeah, this is my first time to Barcelona generally, so I found it awesome just having I had a massive 1.5 days to do some sightseeing. And then there was all these events, which is great because we connect so much out of hours with our partners over in Europe, etc. So it's great to be able to see them in person, sit down and actually, rather than just emailing each other or do a late, someone's having a wine and someone's having a coffee kind of scenario. So it's great to be there in person, shake hands, etc. So that's and just wandering the halls and looking at new marketplace vendors. Why is that being created? What solution does that solve? The brain dates that they hold are pretty cool because anyone can just say, let's talk about a topic, and people can choose to join or not join. So they're pretty cool. But the thing which I always find hilarious is I go over to the Atlassian stand and I speak to someone, and lo and behold, it's someone who I really want to speak to who lives in Sydney. And we have to go to Anaheim or Barcelona to actually meet. But once we've met, that's awesome. Chris, have you got any comments on your...
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming through now.
Lovely stuff. I think, as I'm known for being a cynical troll online, a lot of the more negative people in the Atlassian ecosystem run to me. So I started off the week pretty bummed out, actually, because all the negative Nancy's were coming to me. People are very worried about all the big changes that are happening in the Atlassian world. So I think, there's a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt from some of the solution partners and some of the vendors about a lot of the big changes. So it's, good to be there to really understand and get a clear picture of what's happening with the big migration to cloud. And also, what will the ecosystem look like in a few years? But yes, once I've got through those conversations, some people are a lot more positive, and I think that's for the medium, bigger partners in the space. I think there is some interesting challenges, but people see a path ahead, and I'm just glad Kit is finally embracing his full self and going full Kit mode, and it's what the ecosystem's always needed.
Yeah. So yeah, certainly there was a so for those that don't know, there was an event on the Sunday which was for marketplace and solution partners to get together and chat about different things that are going on and what their view, etc. And that was a pretty interesting event, and it was good. I think Kit, you helped fund some of it. But yeah, there were other funders, Easy Agile and others, which was great. It was certainly great for me to listen to what some of the other concerns were from different people. But in any case, let's talk about the announcements. Now there's 21 slides, and one of them is the title, and the last one is a thank you. So there's really only 19. Let's go.
Oh, there's a couple of intro slides as well. So
oh yeah, that's right. There's a couple. So let's go through it. It is yep, here's one of them. So it's 3 sections. First one, unified platform and new collections. Let's go through it. So, Kit, did you say you were going to do this one?
I think so.
Why don't we just take it in turns?
Yeah, we'll do things like this is the new Peacock for everyone. I think Peacock is officially what they call it around things. So the big takeaways from Team 25 Europe were that basically everything's a collection except for all product at the moment. And we've got some theories around that we spoke about. So for those of you that didn't catch it I think 18 months ago is the first time probably it came up. So strategy collection, bringing together aligned talent and focus, and teamwork collection, bringing together Jira, Confluence and Loom, gave the sort of direction of travel. So the mood is clearly that will be like the default way that that you buy Atlassian apps in future. So it's that whole pivot to being more solution-y and more about like what you get rather than buying things. You can still buy Jira and Confluence at least independently for now, but I think there's a clear direction, and Atlassian are packaging these things together rather than doing a sort of pick and mix in the different areas. The general kind of message this time was that service collection and software collection, which we'll jump into, are now official and launched. And really that Rovo, after being made free at April in Anaheim, is more and more being seen as the core of everything. So you get Rovo and everything there. It's now free for standard tier customers as well. So as long as you're paying somehow for your Atlassian tools, the AI magic is sat there. And if you're working in an organization where that's disabled, the general mood and what we were saying to everyone in a lot of chats was that you're leaving not just like the bells and whistles, but the core functionality on the table. So for anyone needing help navigating that AI journey, that's a great prompt to kind of reach out for a bit of help in the areas there. Product one is going to be interesting to see how it changes over the next few months. For anyone that missed, Atlassian has been doing a bit of an acquisition spree. We'll talk about some of them a little bit later, but in product, they bought an app called Cycle a few months ago. And so it'll be interesting to see whether we get a product collection next year as well for product management types and fans of AHA and things.
So is this where we put the disclaimer? We don't work for Atlassian or represent them. Yep.
You can't tell who we work for, right? It's so subtle.
I've got my extension.
Together. Anyway, so yes, we yeah. So these are our thoughts. Yeah. What's written here is Atlassian, our thoughts. But I think you're right. We were talking about the other day from the collections point of view, and we can see that with service collection. There was Jira Service Management, had assets. Assets is now sort of a platform app, and if you've got Jira Service Management, you will get access to service collection. I did check earlier on today, and I think they're looking at February as making that available. If you're service management now, you'll be able to get access to service collection. If there's an exception to that, you should be able to reach out to Atlassian and say, can you please upgrade us? Because we're really keen on it. But there's no price increase for that. But we'll go into service collection shortly. Okay, so I think we've sort of done this. The new one, service collection and software collection, they are both new. Teamwork and strategy were announced in Anaheim.
Probably only one to add that we didn't mention on the last slide is that each of these come packaged with tailored Rovo agents. So as well as you getting that Rovo generic capability, the idea is that when you buy one of these collections, you get a sort of power up to that with some tailored agents. So when you buy software, you will get Rovo Dev. When you get a service collection, you'll get service related agents as well. So you don't just get the core apps, you get tailored AI helpers with each of them.
Yep. Okay. So if anyone's got any questions, please just put them in the chat and we'll come through. Okay, sorry, I clicked the button. Chrissy.
Just because you want this one, isn't it?
Oh, you go for it. You take it.
You know you're amongst geeks where they fight over who gets presented.
No, you've got it.
The service apps.
So I think the best place to start with this one is what's the difference between JSM and CSM? So Jira Service Management is internal facing for the organization. Think about IT, facilities, HR, and customer service is external. So that's your customers or consumers of your service. So they have different needs, and I guess the best place to start is at the top with authentication. So with JSM, you've generally got your IDP connected to Guard to enable single sign-on because there's that trust boundary there that you're interested in. Whereas your customers, it needs to be a bit more open. So you might have things like social logins, you might have a local access or something like external identity where you're using Google, etc. Other things that they have, omni-channel is a lot broader now. So there's a contact center channel, which is something they didn't have before. So that certainly competes with the likes of Zendesk Talk. What else did we see in this one? I have to go and check my notes. You might have to help me on this one now, Jeff.
All right, cool. So Kristen and I were in battle for this earlier on. So the thing I really like about this is, say you're an organization, and let's say you're a large, let's just say Wesfarmers, and you've got multiple different brands, but you want to have core back office services. What you can do is have your different brands for, say, and have requests in a brand over in external help center. And that can be branded, say, with Kmart or Coles, or maybe not Coles, because I don't think they're part of them anymore, Bunnings, Officeworks. But what they can do is come into the same back office team. So that means that you've got on the one side, you've got multiple different brands, which is awesome. I really like the ability here of being able to, where Atlassian is making the help center more branded, yet recognizing that teams support multiple brands. So they're called brands or experiences are going to be something to look for. It's a very different way to how they've done Jira Service Management. We've only had a little bit of a play so far, and I haven't played with joining a service management or customer service management project with a Jira Service Management project as of yet. I've only mucked around with it for probably about 45 minutes and did a video for one of the team. And yeah, it was pretty, I can see lots of opportunities. It's gone generally available. Let's see how it goes.
The other thing you get there is that customer context in view as well, don't you? You've actually got the name of the organization. You've got the entitlements that they might have access to, and just, I guess, enhanced history and data.
So one of the other things that I haven't worked out in my head yet is you've got virtual agents, which come through in Jira Service Management, but there seems to be a different agent for customer service management, and the customer service management agent can be trained a bit differently. So I'm interested to see how that develops, and I want to do a deep dive into it. I just haven't had time. It's too many things to go into. It's different way, and we were like internally we were thinking, are they going to get rid of virtual agents? Are they going to do something else? And yeah, we can see with CSM they have done something else, but they haven't rolled it across. Chris.
Yeah, I mean, similar to the teamwork graph, the unifying pattern here is about building bridges, smashing down silos, connecting the dots. So there's, you know, a lot going on in this, but the key is making it very easy to search between and see the connective tissues between. So, yeah, you know, CSM has typically not been a strength of Atlassian's, but being able to connect to the account level and see, you know, the connecting conversations and connect those dots is going to be much easier and smarter. So that's the promise, and that's sort of what's been missing for a lot of people.
One question mark I still have is where's status page?
I think that's still connected to service management from an incident creation, but the actual outbound, yeah. Next
At the moment, it's still a standalone app, I think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, correct. Good. Okay, we spent a lot on this one. We are going through the rest of the slides a heck of a lot quicker. This was a rather big announcement. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Software collection, Kit or Chris, who wants to go?
Do you have a view, Chris, before I speak again?
He hasn't got his hand up. That's
okay.
Chris is very polite. He puts his hand up.
Such good etiquette on things, like he's a professional. Software collection is so bundling and lots of expansion things. So Bitbucket and Compass were already sat here in the previous version of the Peacock around things. So and I think Compass to me felt like an awesome tool that people were struggling to get people to buy. Like it felt like it was sat there and like everyone loved the demo, but then not many people were converting from what I've seen. So I think the bundling together and you get everything in that package is really sensible. The added excitement there is around DX, the new dev joy was the way that they expressed it. So the sort of making your life as a developer awesome at work at least capability that Atlassian bought a couple of months ago. I failed hopelessly to get a demo of DX at Team Europe, which is one of my key aims. So I'm still going to do that afterwards. But I have had loads of really good reviews from colleagues who've worked with it. So I think that's quite exciting. And the bundling of those three things together with Rovo Dev, and I think pipelines is a bit cheeky to call out separately as part of Bitbucket, but like that family of stuff together.
Yeah, it's bamboo, right?
Yeah. It's just like bamboo. That's a niche joke, Jeff.
Yeah, okay.
So that bundling I think will be really interesting, and I think with all of these collections what it means is that people don't have to have that sort of upgrade stress around things where they're like, oh, do I take these other things or not as part of it. So it's fundamentally like, do you want some support for software and working with software as part of your platform Atlassian? If so, just get this, everything's bundled around things. I'm sure there'll be some pushback the other way on people going like, oh, I don't want like the three things that I don't use, but it makes it a lot simpler as a proposal. The presentation from Atlassian's tech leadership on DX and DevJoy and things was actually really good. So if it's an area that interests you or your teams, that's definitely worth watching on the replays of the platform, because they go into some more examples. I don't think we're going to go into loads of depth on Rovo Dev on this call, but if you're joining and you're a developer engineer, like looking at that and comparing it to things like GitHub Copilot, I think is really relevant. So you can really engage in that part of the discussion as well.
Okay. Teamwork collection. Kaz, you got this one?
Yeah. Now, I didn't personally attend the Teamwork Collections workshops, but I did take a note of some of the new things that were coming in Teamwork Collection. Obviously, the Teamwork Collection's been around for a little while now. It includes Jira, Confluence, Loom, and Guard under one collection. The main benefit, or one of the main benefits of getting it as a collection, is you get lots of extra usages with Rovo. So in terms of when they start monitoring Rovo usage, you will get a lot more. I think it's 10x the amount of usage under the Teamwork Collection than you do under like Jira or Confluence individually. So the benefits of having the teamwork collection is being able to use Rovo more. The creating with Rovo in Confluence. So Rovo is actually really great at creating Confluence pages and doing all kinds of cool stuff in there. Assigning work to agents in Jira is also something that they talked quite a lot about. So instead of just assigning it to a user or a team, you can now actually assign it to a Rovo agent for your tasks, and it can go and execute things, and it can be part of your automations as well. I don't know much about the Rovo project management skills. I was just trying to look up that before. Did anyone hear what that was actually particularly about? Anyone want to throw to that? That's fine. Kit?
Yeah, I made a bad joke in the chat about it as well. So with skills generally, they're all about having sort of like templated functions around areas, and the project management ones in particular for what I think is a fairly good set of like common things that as a PM or PMO you're asked to do. So it's things like looking at duplicates, like managing dependencies, getting status updates and things. So the idea is that they're trying to package together things so that people don't spend ages rewriting those common prompts effectively. Fragment. So, and I think that's actually quite a savvy set for like an area that's not the most thrilling to do manually in Jira. So we've all had that experience where you're like, oh, what's blocked in the area? And like having that pre-packaged, I think will be of good value. So we're seeing lots of people where you've got that community who are maybe a bit anxious about like Jira and things not being their core set. They're very comfortable with Microsoft Project, which is dying for anyone that hasn't noticed. And so like I think that will be a really good way to give them a bit of comfort and help them find value in Jira as part of the hub.
Yeah, awesome. That'll be good to understand a little bit more about. The Loom bug reporting, they talked a little bit about how you can now create a Jira ticket from like Loom and using that for your bug reports, which I thought was pretty cool. The AI chat is like AI in Loom is actually really cool if you haven't played around with that. And the audio briefings in Confluence, I haven't actually played around with that yet. Has anyone had a look? Did you have
a Chris, did you want to do this one?
Yeah, for anyone that knows someone that likes to send long voice notes in a group chat, this fills me with dread, and I'm not looking forward to this at all.
Audio briefings, yeah. Definitely you can like fast forward or put them on 2x speed or something, Chris. I don't know, like. Yeah.
Well, now with AI, you have the ability to transcribe them, and so then it's fine. You can go back to reading it again.
So this one is on the Chrome browser. You can listen to a Confluence page. It's got to be a Chrome browser, and just on the little menu bar on the right where you can, the bottom right of the Confluence page, it's got, insert a Loom video, etc. There's another one there, read to me or whatever it's called. I like it from a point of view of being able to get updates, whatever. I wouldn't be using it for reading policies and things of that nature, but if there's a project update or something in there, I think it's worth giving a try. Anyway.
I'd argue the opposite, in that a lengthy legal document is the least likely thing that I am to consume, and so like I might miss some of the nuances, but I actually think it's quite useful for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's see. So that was my point here. But just going on what we were saying before, Kit, in regards to the different collections, it seems like Teamwork collection is for all, comes with Guard, comes with the base Jira, Confluence, etc. and Loom, and that's relevant for all the other collections.
Yeah, it's definitely the hub, right? Like yeah, everyone should be getting Teamwork collection is the message.
And so anyway, onwards and upwards. Let's keep going.
Yep. So that was pretty much it.
Oh, we got a question.
Which you mentioned before. So,
Tom.
yeah.
Oh, yes, I do have a question because I looked at that yesterday. I found it interesting that based on the, I guess, licensing model that you sign up with, that you also get additional analytics that was called out as part of the enterprise package. Now I'm, I guess, trying to understand, do we know if that's only like in the TWC, or is that across service teams, anything that you have done the analytics basically with it?
So how it has been working is that if you're, say, a Jira enterprise license, you get access to analytics, and it applies to the Jira platform. And so if you've got a Jira service management project, which you're only on, say, premium for or standard, it will still be available under AI analytics and, sorry, under the analytics. I've got to add AI in front of everything these days, Tom. And likewise, we have customers who are, say, on JSM Enterprise, 300 users, but they might only have 300 Jira users as well, and they can take advantage of that analytics for both. Because what it is, yeah, when they add it, it's added for the product. So added for Jira. So yeah, so if, yeah, is
There's
there
also
anything else?
analytics when it comes to analytics of your Rovo usage. Is that what you're referring to, Tom? Or are you talking about enterprise analytics?
Yeah, Tom's talking specifically about Atlassian Analytics, right? And so I just checked on service. So this is a weird one as well. At the moment, you get it with any of the products that are enterprise tier. And so this has historically created a weirdness where you can just bump Confluence to enterprise and you get analytics across everything. I've just double checked, and definitely for the service collection, it's also true that you only need, so anything that you put on enterprise that gets you analytics across your platform together with other enterprise benefits. But I think that some of that is what we're going to see tidied up over the next sort of 12 months or so as well with things, because it's a bit wibbly wobbly in the policies around things.
It was a bit wibbly wobbly finding that out yesterday. And sorry, I don't think Heidi is on the call, but I pinged her a couple of times. Like, I don't understand. Thanks for explaining, Jeff.
Oh, you're welcome. Any other questions? All right, let's keep going. Strategy collection. Kit.
That was you, Jeff.
So strategy collection had arguably some of the, well, from a core product perspective, less changes this round than in April with things. There's a couple of notable exceptions on the slide. So funds being available, i.e. a sense of money crept in around things there. Obviously, that's quite interesting, but we didn't see much of it in detail at Teams. So it's one to watch them actually releasing over the next few months with things. The narrative is still very much that Atlassian won't become your system of record for finance. So they're not trying to take over SAP and things. I think that's partly a reflection of it being vaguely hideous to try and take on that amount of data and being a core kind of legal pot of information for your organization to go there. I think the most interesting and immediately impactful thing was that they started to roll out Rovo properly across the collection. Align is lagging on this because it's still in the process of being replatformed, which they were very transparent with. So over the next 12 months, we can expect Align to shift more, both technically and visually, and with the rest of the platform. But right now, and there might be a grid on this later in the slides, there was definitely one that went around. You can use Rovo within the context of focus and talent to use AI specific skills in there. And I think it's actually a really good use case in that we've all got those wonderful leaders in organizations, and they are people who classically don't access the things that you tell them to. They always want a slide and what have you. So having like agents that could sit within focus, and then if it's like CEO Jeff Mather wants to like get an update on the teams, he can use the Rovo agent within focus to do that with a specific kind of portfolio lens and things. So I think that was the most exciting change in any of the products there, at least from my perspective. Talent got a little bit more clear for a lot of people. So I think when it was announced more broadly earlier in the year, people were a bit woolly around what it was actually going to do. And there was a lot more like screens and maturity generally of it. So it's worth taking a look there if you're in that space. It'll be interesting to see how that plays with Workday. So Atlassian are famously a Workday customer. And like some of the functionality and elements of Workday, there's definitely an overlap with that. So I think we'll see organizations finding out what the mix is of those and how the two play together or not in the next 12 months as well.
Yeah. Anyone, anything else to add? I can't wait for Align to be replatformed. Anyway, as a person that back in, I don't know, 2020, did training on the current version for 2 weeks during COVID lockdown. It was wonderful, especially US time zone. Anyway, platform innovations. Okay, so that was it for the sort of collections overview. This is basically the cloud platform. So just to be clear, we've got the platform apps, then we've got the collections that we saw before. So, okay, cloud migration, etc. I don't know how much this affects people, but there's a heck of a lot that's been going on with they've got a new program called Fast Shift about how to help companies migrate to the cloud. There's a huge ramp on that, as you can imagine, with the is it called Ascend? The Atlassian migrate to cloud with data center coming end of life in 2025. I was just distracted by a kid's thumbs up. I've never had so much enthusiasm. Yeah, there's been movements there in the US with FedRAMP, the Atlassian Government Cloud. Now, when they say Atlassian Government Cloud, they mean US Government Cloud. The Atlassian Isolated Cloud is for the rest of us. So that's support for having your isolated environment inside it, which is managed by Atlassian. Now, isolated can mean different things, and I had a bit of a chat in a compliance workshop with one of the people working on the project, and they said, yeah, there's lots that can be done here and lots of different options around isolation. Is it network? Is it hypervisor? Is it where does it go? And the price goes up depending upon how more isolated you get. As you can imagine, it's more and more management. So in any case, yep, huge support there for number of users, 250,000 users on a single site. We don't seem to have that much of a demand for that in Australia. Correct me if I'm wrong. Were there any companies that big enough? No, I don't think so. In any case, multiple sandboxes there for enterprise. That's one of those other things there, Tom, about being an enterprise customer, being able to have multiple sandboxes. That's something we really take advantage of from the point of view of then migrating changes between the environments. Okay, anyone else on that slide?
Just a bit of anecdotal advice, very unofficially, if anyone gets excited about Isolated Cloud, it's going to be pricier, like Jeff says, like for sure. We don't know how much, but like if you look at Jira Align's old pricing, like based on things. So if you've got organizations, unless they're like really big and highly funded, like large banks, large governments and things, Isolated Cloud's probably not going to be for them. So it's still better to get them comfortable and moving into normal cloud sooner rather than waiting for that and getting sticker price shock.
We've had, we were talking to a client the other week who said, oh, we definitely Isolated Cloud. They had 200 users. Had to talk to them about the cost, etc. It's going to be, it's not 2 times or whatever the price of 200 users. It is, you need a significant number of people to make this work. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. I think the main ones here was not for us generally, but it was a while ago in Team 25 or Team 24 when it was announced that it wasn't going to be until 26 that we were going to have IRAP. That's part of the Australian government's compliance requirements. That came forward, which was awesome. C5 is very similar to the IRAP, but they're in 2026. So I think it was touch and go whether they got there before Australia. But in any case, that's more compliance they get with Atlassian gets with different compliance requirements from different jurisdictions, the better. Tightens it up each and every time. Yes, and data residency there for Rovo, Analytics, and Focus. What typically happens is the data residency is only in the US, and then it becomes available in other other jurisdictions. Again, for enterprise customers, the backup and restore capabilities are available. Okay, I'll take the first one, assets. This is what I love. So we've done projects before where we've used assets, of course, for IT service management, licenses, IT stuff. But what other sorts of facilities projects as well, where you might have buildings and then desks in there and allocating desks to people and all that sort of stuff. All great. But we haven't, out of the box with Jira or with Teamwork Collection, you don't get assets, or you haven't previously. So the ability to link an asset to a Jira software project or a Jira business project has been limited to if you had a service management project as well. So Jira service management license. That's great from my perspective that it's expanding its use to other things. So assets is now being is available in standard Jira licenses and Teamwork Collection licenses. There are limits about how many you can have with enterprise. You can now I saw this, the pricing dropped from 5 cents per asset object over 50,000 to now 500,000. And if you go over that 500,000 limit, it's at 2 cents for each object per month rather than previously 5 cents. And that pricing is in US. So major scaling, major improvements have made to assets, which is great, and hence they're making it more available. So
common data model is going into closed beta shortly. Should be dropped on my One Atlas this week.
Awesome. Projects, portfolio insights. Who wants to talk about that?
I think Michelle and I, from the looks of the chat with things. So for anyone that's missed this, over a number of weeks, which is only going to add to the confusion here, projects are no longer called projects unless they're projects around things. So Jira projects are now becoming spaces, which is long overdue and welcomed by many. But for anyone that's used the platform apps and clicked on things, you'll notice that there was another thing called projects, which is actually projects for a while. So like a defined temporary unit of work, I can't remember how Prince 2 defines it, but like an actual project has been a thing for a while. That will stay called a project and will start to become less confusing around things there. But the very confusing area where you work in Jira is now consistently called a space. We were just remarking earlier that the actual rollout of this is a little bit staggered still. So you may still have some instances where they're called projects, but I would say like by Christmas, hopefully everyone will be in the same kind of layout of things. In 6 months' time, no one will remember the bad old days, I suspect, around things, and the confusion will end. But for anyone that's been for around a while, you're going to have a few months more kind of confusion where people call things different stuff. The actual project app, so really project management stuff, did get a little bit of attention, and I think it's going to grow over the next sort of year or so in importance. At the moment, it's quite sort of narrative driven. So for the agile coaches, you'll sort of suck your teeth a little bit around things. So it is quite classic project management reporting style, but it'll be interesting to see how that changes over time. And things like Rovo starting to be able to create graphs and things. So you could start to have actual data-driven reporting in there as well. So have a play with it and watch the space, but the separation of projects being for things in Jira versus actual project management has begun, which is probably welcome. Hopefully that's the least confusing way that we could have explained a confusing topic.
Yeah, I hated it before, trying to say, oh, no, a project can. We used to have a project for some clients to do a project for implementation, and then you have the ongoing project, which has all the test cases and other things into it. So I'm glad they've made the change, but it's uncomfortable. I'm not sure about the issues to work items. Yeah, okay. Portfolio insights. I've got nothing to add to that. Does anyone done a quick Rovo on that? Is that what it is?
It's a little bit orientated towards migration at the moment with things.
Yeah.
I think the general direction there is that they're getting lots more things called insights generally, and they tend to be management focused data versus like Atlassian analytics, which Tom's point earlier is often about like flow of work. So you've got, I think they've called it AI insights or something, but you've got like Rovo usage insights. These things are about portfolio insights is specifically about managing your estate, if I remember correctly. And you'll notice that for the next few years, that includes your data center environment. So the idea is that this one in particular is your like helicopter view of your Atlassian portfolio. So by portfolio, they don't mean like LPM and like Jira Align things. They mean specifically your Atlassian apps, wherever they sit.
Cool. Okay, anyone else want to have a go on these ones? Okay, I'll do the teamwork graph one.
Carolyn's gonna go.
So what was that?
No, just in the interest of time, we might want to
Go quick.
breeze
Okay.
through some of these. Yep. So teamwork graph. There's Forge custom apps and integrations can integrate with the teamwork graph now. The usage-based pricing, I think we talked a little bit about that before. There is going to be dashboards now for monitoring and managing usage. So I imagine that Rovo will start to charge. I'm not sure when, but they're getting ready for it. So that's what that is all about. And units, my understanding of this at a kind of very high level, it's a little bit like business units within the organization. So IT, HR, you can actually put people in a team and they can share data within that particular unit, and it doesn't actually get shared amongst the other units in the organization. So it gives a little bit more security and control over an environment, and that you can have your own I was going to say teamwork things and that going on within that unit. So yeah, just a little bit more structure, I suppose, to that. A little bit like business units, I think, in the financial world we used to call them. So
yeah, I'm wondering about, well, I just want to say about the usage-based pricing. So there is usage-based pricing, mentioned it for assets, and yes, there are Rovo credits. They're quite generous with TWC when you buy the Teamwork Collection. You do get them with individual apps. So when you get a collection, you do get a number of credits. But this helps manage them for you, so that then you can go, hang on, is this what I want? Yeah, which is pretty cool.
And there's more lockdowns now, so you can see who prevent who creates Rovo agents. You can block people from using Rovo and stuff, which will sort of be coming as well. So a bit more control over that.
Yeah, because everyone by default can create a Rovo agent. You can limit that to no one or to a select number of groups.
The changes, yeah.
Okay, analytics and team experience. I haven't touched the first one, conversational analytics. I haven't looked at that at all.
It overlaps slightly. So mainly here they're talking about like the AI-driven or LLM-driven interface with analytics and other areas. I don't think we actually have a slide on it here from memory, but the other thing that got announced was vibe coding within Atlassian on apps, and it overlaps with this. So there was this like really impressive marketing slide that we're all waiting to get access to the demo of, where you can go like, hey, Jira, build me a like risk dashboard and do things there. And I think those two probably over the next few months are going to kind of overlap a little bit. For anyone that hasn't tried Atlassian Analytics, it's definitely a data scientist tool. Like you'll get the most from it if you can use SQL and things. So I think Atlassian are recognizing that as quite a barrier to entry for a lot of like business teams who want to be able to create data around things. So the overlap of those two, I think, is where we're heading around things. So the normal people or the non-data science kind of geeky people around things can carve up their data and make it presentable.
Okay, and I haven't tried the second one. Rovo recommended feeding Atlassian Home. There's just so many announcements. Keeping across them all is just so huge. So we mentioned before about projects where there's the goals, the goal edit permissions. I think goal view permissions are quite interesting as well. Where we have a number of clients where they have some subcontractors in environment. They don't necessarily want them to be able to see all the goals and see all the sort of platform stuff. So we're quite interested in and Atlassian is open by default typically, so trying to close it down. But in any case, yeah, there's Admin Hub now, view all teams in Admin Hub, team types and team hierarchy. That's fairly new, the whole Atlassian Teams concept, syncing from IDP. I can say internally, we've just started on that, pushing it up with the IDP very recently. In fact, I think I've got to do some mapping research or approvals later on today or tomorrow morning. It's been with me for about a week. Keep on going. Okay. Kaz?
Okay, yep, I'll take this one. So some of the Rovo improvements are pretty exciting. Rovo, they're making lots of enhancements to this. It is replacing Atlassian Intelligence, so I think it's all kind of merging into one. It's now being called Rovo, which kind of simplifies things for those familiar with Atlassian Intelligence when it came out a couple of years ago. So it is the single AI solution available to everyone now in the cloud, including, as Kit said before, the standard edition and the premium edition, as well as enterprise. And I think it probably even is on the free, but I'm not sure what the limits are. In addition to that, you've got the core apps around Rovo are Search, Chat, and Studio, and they'll be part of that platform apps that we've talked about before. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Search and Chat in the next couple of slides, and there's also obviously the Studio is where you actually create the Rovo agents. The modular skills was pretty cool, and MCB did a demo of this in his talk on the keynote around basically sending an email from Rovo. So staying in context with your Rovo, we're doing a search. It loaded up like a page into Confluence that was like a picture or an image, and it was able to translate. So Kit, your amazing little summaries of these sessions, you're going to load this up into Confluence. It'll be able to break it all down into like note form and then send that out as an email with action items and things. So it was a pretty cool example where they whiteboarded some ideas. It created a table in Confluence, and then it created a bullet point email, and then he actually sent the email out using Rovo. So those Rovo skills are part of that functionality where you can actually execute things like that. Cookie, you got your hand up there.
Yeah, I think AI agents sending emails out through an automated workflow is terrifying and will destroy everyone's inboxes, but represents a huge opportunity for Atlassian. Anyone still trying to get any work done in email, those days will be over.
Yeah. Well, I think that this was actually just an individual, like me in my Rovo chat going, can you please draft an email and can you send it? And it figured out who to send it to, and it actually sent it. So I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool. But yes, automating that as part of an agent to send it out will be a little bit scary for sure. And obviously the integration with the teamwork graph and being able to do all those connectors to the third-party SaaS apps is also pretty cool. And they're increasing those connectors all the time. Next slide, please, whoever's controlling that. All right.
This is a bit scary, isn't it?
Scary. I don't know, everyone gets by this, but this kind of horrifies me a little bit, like Rovo knows everything. It's connected to everything and it's everywhere. So yeah, here we
but
come.
in any case,
Moving
it's there to help.
It's there to help. Rovo innovation. So it is going to replace the search in Jira, which I think will be really nice. And Kit, you talked about the ability to use a basic text in things like analytics, and this will replace your JQuery searches. So you'll be able to kind of ask some really nice, easy, hey, can you summarize a list of Jira issues or Jira tickets or whatever, and it will do that for you with Rovo with normal text as opposed to having to understand JQL or SQL. Working smarter in chat. So yeah, being able to load up things like images, PDF and voice, and actually doing analysis on that is actually really cool. The agents and automations, as Chris said, a little bit frightening to be able to actually then automate a lot of those skills across the world. I mean, data is exploding every day, right? I think in the last couple of years alone, we've more than tripled our, the amount of data that's stored in the internet, and it's growing exponentially. So I can see all these data centers springing up. Maybe that's what the whole central of Australia is going to look like eventually. It would be just one big data center as we store all that. But
You've
anyway.
been listening to Scott.
Yeah. The Rovo skills directory, as I mentioned, there's actually a link there within the app. I don't know if you can paste that in the chat, or we'll share the slide deck later. But that just takes
share the deck.
The documentation part about the Rovo skills and what it does. Any questions on the Rovo stuff? I think that was it. Is that it?
No. There was a good.
Yeah.
There was a good question in the chat about the comparison between the European and the US events. I think historically it used to kind of be the same event for different audiences, but as it shifted more online, it felt like there were important updates in California and important updates to be delivered in Barcelona.
Product team. This is actually, they drive their innovations by these team events. So it's kind of, I don't know, I guess it's a way to keep them on track. So every time they have two lots of announcements every year, there'll be one at Teams in Europe, in the US, and one at Teams in Europe, and that's basically how they kind of deliver features and functions now around the products. So yeah, I think that's why it is slightly different now. You're getting new announcements at each one. Yeah,
and some of the cultural differences, the American one, sort of big vision, how it's going to change the world for the Silicon Valley VC firms. But this feels more details oriented and like actually how the end users will use it and how it applies. It's getting very practical. It's gone from breathless wonder to tangible action.
Yeah, a bit more big bang theory, and then this is maybe a bit more the nitty gritty. So yeah, good call. Okay. So then we had the Rovo Dev, which is the new agent as part of the software collection. I haven't explored this very much. Anyone want to have a stab at talking to this?
I have had a play, but Kit, I think you've got more knowledge on this than me, because I've just had a play and I'm not in the developer space. Haven't been for,
I think, with 5 minutes
over
left.
20 years.
Yeah, with 5 minutes. I was a jeweler, Jeff. With 5 minutes left, I think GitHub Copilot has been clearly running ahead and being very exciting for people. This brings some sort of parity within the Atlassian world. But yeah, have a look at the whole software collection. Summary would be my kind of tip on it generally. The demo was very good, but the demo is always very good, right? In a keynote of things. So they went through a nice little sequence where the person presenting how to chat with Rovo was like, hey, I've been assigned this Jira ticket, and it planned the approach with them. So not just coding, but going through the logical steps of what are we trying to achieve, and then I co-wrote the code with them. So I think that's the summary around the stuff that you can see what goes. Important to flag that they're not relying on you being purely in Bitbucket. So I think in common with previous years, there is an appreciation that people are going to keep using GitHub and other cloud repositories that are available. So yeah.
So I do want to just mention the MCP server. I think it was only connecting up to cloud before, and Rovo Dev was sort of connecting up to it, but they are making up more and more connectors. So making the Atlassian platform data available to other AI agents to connect to, etc. I'm sure there's another way of explaining that. Anyone want to have another go?
Wow, I think MCP is famously the main product where there are more people making it than buying it, right? So the idea that we need to connect all the agents is a very compelling one, but the reality there, I think actually the more interesting use case is what Kaz was talking about, where it's about assigning agents from your kind of work to other things as well. And I reckon that that's where we'll actually see the magic of multiple systems, AIs talking to each other.
That was a really impressive demo, where basically now you can assign work to a Rovo agent. And so in your workflow, you can change status. It might go to a Rovo agent. That Rovo agent then does something, and then it hands it over, progresses as a workflow, transitions to another step and assigns to someone else. Pretty cool. With 3 minutes left, I did just want to bring one other thing. We make marketplace apps. So we are definitely interested in that, connecting to the Teamwork Graph and those skills for being able to use connecting then the data from the app to then outreaching via email, etc., to other things. very, very keen on that sort of stuff, making then the apps that we make and other marketplace vendors who make Forge apps more useful, or the data more useful. Now, I did have one question. Who out of those that went, so Kit, Kaz, Chris, I'm not sure if Mark Higgins is actually here, who's going to try and join. Are you guys going next year? Do you plan to go if you have the choice?
I'll plan to go.
We're planning to go. Jeff, aren't we? We're planning to go.
Yeah. Chris, you planning on going?
Not for me, thank you. I've heard they're checking people's social medias at the border, and that disqualifies me from America till they're allowed to have elections again.
So I've got to say, I think I prefer Europe to Anaheim. So
there you go.
yeah,
Cool.
so I might be of the same sort of boat.
We'll
see how it goes. I mean, I've got team on tour Hong Kong next month. So anyway, all right. Is there any questions from anyone before we finish off?
There was a great question from Neil, but he's definitely left a very good question and us not quite enough time to even begin unpicking it. So Kit's offered to pick that up later.
No worries. All right. So thank you, everyone. We will make this available. I say we, I really mean Kit. We'll make this available on the YouTube channel.